Thank you for tuning in to the Realities Podcast. Realities Podcast is a blog term podcast about the realities of life, what's trending, being a mom and a wife, family, career, and everything in between. I hope you enjoy this next episode, but please make sure that you follow us on Instagram at Realities, and that is RAIALITIES. Let us know what you think about this next episode.
But
Enjoy.
welcome to Realities. We're back. Say hi, G.
Hi, G.
As always. So we are back and we are talking just New Year's stuff. So we have a guest. We'll let her introduce herself in a second, but Happy New Year. I don't know what else it was. No, it's just New Year. So Happy New Year to everyone.
Yep.
So happy MLK celebration or day, if that's the actual day. So we are talking about investments, but we'll let our guest introduce herself and then we'll get into our norm questions, answers, fun talk, and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, my name is Alexeus Webber. I am a realtor in the DMV and also licensed in Pennsylvania. I've been in real estate a little over a year, and it has skyrocketed out of nowhere, nothing that I expected. So and Ray and Gina invited me to be a part of their podcast today, and I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I feel like I'm in a court of law or something. I don't know. I like to be behind the scenes and not seen, but I'm excited and I'm appreciative of you guys even thinking about me. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. So for all of our listeners, we, just as y'all know, me and G go way back. We told y'all our story before, how we met each other's asses first before we met each other's faces. Yeah. Alexeus, as I call her Lexi, used to drop me off to those locations where Gina was.
Oh God!
Secret locations.
Yes, next would be the drop off after the. I don't remember where we went. There we go, Halloween party or something. I got dropped off to Mr. Walston.
I'm always the designated driver.
Oh yes. Yeah. So we have known Lex. Well, I've known Lex since 2002. Damn.
Yes.
Coogada mugga.
That's a long time. Damn, it was 20 years from our high school graduation. We on the 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, this is 20 years. Don't laugh at us, Gina. I know we over here. She over here like, okay, y'all just getting it, but all right.
Is it just 20 years, y'all?
Yeah, we graduated high school in 2002.
2002, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're babies, but then again, it sounds like that was so far.
We look like we're babies.
Yes, indeed.
I was going to say, ma'am, it does not sound like you're a baby, but okay.
Yeah, till your knees start buckling. But anyway.
Right.
So we're talking about just investments and the time that's right to invest and all that good stuff. So you've already told us how long you've been a realtor, and correct me if I'm wrong with the terminology, because I don't know anything about real estate. I go to you guys for all the questions. But tell us about like what made you want to get into real estate, and is it a brokerage? Like you're under
a brokerage.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then tell us who you represent.
Okay. So of course, like I said, I've been in real estate for a little over a year. Actually, Saturday, the 8th was my official 1-year anniversary from my license being active. So actually I've wanted to get into, I've had a passion for real estate all of my life. Of course, HGTV has been on for decades. But I've always been just like infatuated with the process, like, going to look at homes, going to look at model homes, going to look at rinky dink homes. It didn't have to be the top of the line for me. Like, there was a home probably a mile from where I lived at in Fort Washington, Maryland, and it was literally gutted. And I would get out once a week and just walk through as they were fixing it up, because it was wide open, just walk through, just mesmerized by the process, and started to dive into, well, how much did it sell for when they first had it? What did it look like? What are they trying to sell it for now? Like, just really getting into it. And then in college, I don't know if Ray remembers or not, but we would talk about it a lot. We were talking about getting our real estate licenses, but I had never hopped on the opportunity, I would say, because life happens, of course. You're trying to graduate, you're trying to figure out if you're going to, what job you're going to get after you graduate from college and things like that. So I have a friend that's actually a realtor that is also, I'm a part of her real estate team, the Kimberlee Randall Group. So she was also my realtor. So 5 years ago, and I would say not 5 years ago, probably a little over 10 years ago when I met her, we had how you meet someone and you have things in common, and real estate will always come up. So we talked about it, and for years she would say, you should just go ahead and get your license. Like, I was just so interested in the process, even though I didn't have my license. So finally, right before the pandemic hit, I said, you know what, 2020, I'm just going to go ahead and bite the bullet. I signed up in 2019 to start my classes, but I hadn't started. And then January 2020, I started doing the classes. And then all of a sudden everything shut down. I said, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity. I was working, I still work full time for the government, but I took advantage of that opportunity, working remotely, and I would study on my breaks. I would study at night. I would literally be up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning, just getting through the classes, studying, making sure I knocked this out. And December 30th, 2020, I passed my classes, and I was like, let's go 2021.
Yeah.
So, and my goal was I say, okay, now that I've got my license, my friend Kimberlee was already walking me through the process. She was like, okay, this is what you have to do. I already knew a brokerage I wanted to be affiliated with, which was the brokerage she was affiliated with. She's not a broker. But, I just knew that she would be my mentor. And I know some folks that get into real estate, and I always wonder why they don't do anything. And I think it's because they aren't sure where to go. They don't have that leadership. They don't have that mentorship. They don't have someone to, look up to and help them along in the process. Now, I know a lot of brokerages do have mentors, and they have training programs and things like that. But you have a lot of people that get into real estate and they are still like me, working full time. And sometimes they don't have the time to do a training because it's a set day and time. And so I just really, I lock in when I can. I still stay up till probably 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, still, studying, because real estate is constantly evolving, especially through COVID. Like, there's so many different ways of dealing with real estate now. You just don't have to go and look at something. You can virtually look at things. You can go out and show a home and not have your client there. So, it's constantly evolving, and you as a realtor need to be ready for that.
Awesome. So you talk, go ahead, G.
So you have your license in the DMV, and that's kind of obvious because you live in the DMV. What made you decide to do it in Pennsylvania?
Well, there's loopholes when you get your license in certain jurisdictions, that you're able to get reciprocity in different states. So Pennsylvania was one of those states that I could get reciprocity because I was licensed in Maryland. Okay. Same with DC, and same with Virginia. So I say, you know what? I don't have to go back through the classes. I can just study and, get my license.
Oh, cool. It's kind of like
Mhm.
taxes.
Right.
It's
So
like
I said,
taxes.
if I'm going to do it, I'm gonna do it, and people are always like, well, you're always traveling. I said, well, guess what? I'm gonna get a traveling realtor too, because I know people everywhere and somebody's always looking for a home or to invest or some land or something like that. So
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
So, with it being the new year, of course, everybody has their goals and objectives for their new year and all that stuff. As far as real estate, do you think that now is the time to purchase a home, purchase a investment property, or is there like a good time? I know things like my husband always talks about the market and all of this stuff. Right now. Okay. That's what I got him for. I don't pay attention to that. You tell me when what we doing, and then I do my part. I'm kind of like I'm the administrative assistant for the house.
right. Right.
Pretty
So
much.
me personally, I feel like it's always a good time to buy, especially if you are in a position to do so. Just because others are not, or just because the economy looks a certain way. I'm sorry, that's my dog. Just because the economy looks a certain way doesn't mean that you can't do that. So I think it's always a good time. You should always be prepared, whether it's good or bad, because you never know. you know Things happen in real estate transactions that people don't always talk about. But I feel like it's always a good time if you're ready and prepared for it.
And what about selling? So what if is that the same case for if you want to sell your property or investment or whatever it is? You think
Well,
if it's
I
a
think
buyer
now
out there, then it's a seller.
well, being that the interest rates are lower for buyers, you have a lot more buyers out now that want to buy. So you have a lot more sellers that are like, okay, well, the interest rates are lower, but the price of my home is increasing. Why not look at the opportunities? Because you have some people that have actually not even thought about selling their home, and they've had someone approach them, or they've heard someone close to them that has sold their home for, well over what they even expected. And they said, you know what, I'm going to see what I can do, with selling my home. So I think it's always a good time if it's good for you. Now, like when Gina was talking about earlier about just packing up to move.
She ain't even started packing. She need to start.
She
She got to start from ground zero. She need to organize, then declutter, then pack. she got about
that's
20
why I
years
said I think that's something to
Right.
think about. Like you might say, oh, somebody might bring you a number and say, okay, these are the comps, in your area for what the homes are selling for in your neighborhood. And you're like, really? But then you start thinking about, okay, now I need to think about packing. I need to think about moving. Where am I going to move to? Do I want to move into something like I already have? Do I want to move into something bigger? Do I want to downsize? So then you run into those things.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's always a good time to.
So what would
buy
you say
or sell.
to like Gina said, she was trying to pack up. What would you say would be that first step if the thought process just comes like, hey, I want to sell my house? What would that first step look like? Like, should you? I mean, I always say, like I just said to Gina, I always say the first step for me is like declutter and get rid of some stuff. Stuff you don't want to take with you.
Right.
From that.
Definitely. But I would think prior to that is, are you trying to sell your house yourself, or are you going to get a realtor to help you?
People could sell, you could sell your house without a realtor.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think, like, I guess because I'm not knowledgeable enough to be like, oh, okay, let me.
I think that's what it is. It makes it for people
it's a
who
lot.
don't know, it's a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
It is a lot. And it's I feel like it's always better to like you have, like, for instance, you have people, like you pay your accountant to do your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You
have knowledge experts for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
You pay people to do things for you. So it's kind of like if your realtor can take the stress out of the entire process and just help you, put together a nice timeline and exactly what you should do and basically do all the behind the scenes for you besides packing. I mean, I'll come and
look, I was going to say,
I help move a box or two, but that's just me. But a lot of realtors won't do that. They'll come through and say, okay, you need to declutter.
A lot of friends ain't doing it either.
At least not the ones I have.
Now I will definitely send you an amazing moving company.
And send that to me too, because I would like to share that with my
yes
clients.
Indeed. I'm telling you, I think at some point you get too old, like the guys, because the girl, we ain't moving nothing. I'll pack up all my stuff, but I'm not lifting the box. That's not happening, especially when you got all the guys. But all the guys are like, we too old now, we go to lift a box, we might puncture a nerve.
I mean, at this stage in our lives, you might as well just call a moving company.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
indeed.
And just pray that they don't break anything or misplace anything, and
and actually just return all your stuff to where it's
right.
Exactly.
Okay. Go ahead, G.
So you said it's always a good time to buy. Rayshawn mentioned renting.
You have a lot of folks that are renting out their properties, whether it's a single family, a condo, whatever. But a realtor can also help you with that as well, because you have some people that don't want to rent an apartment, like a traditional rental. They maybe need a single family home. They may need, a bigger type of condo or townhouse. They might be looking for some space. I know in our area, we have a lot of people in the military. So there's always constantly, people moving in and out of our area. So for the most part, a lot of them aren't looking to buy because they may have purchased in another state and they're renting their home out there and they just want to rent something here while they're stationed here. So that's another good way to use a realtor, because they can send you a list of what's available in the area. They can contact the listing agent. Sometimes you'll have the listing agent direct you directly to the landlord because, they're just using that service just to put their home out there that it's for rent, but they want to do everything else like the background check and the background check and things like that. So
if I'm renting, but I'm asking you to help, what do I call you?
If you're the renter and you're asking me to help you rent,
as the renter, I would
still be your realtor.
Okay, so what does that look like on your end financially? Because how for the buyer, if I'm selling your house, you get a certain portion. If I'm buying, you get a certain portion. But what does that look like
it depends too. So, and that's funny that you said that, because I work with people that are looking to lease commercial properties, and I work with clients that are looking to lease or rent residential homes, right? So on the residential side, basically it's the same way as if I was your agent and you were a buyer. The seller is paying a portion of my commission, right? So it's the same way if you were renting, the landlord would pay a portion of my commission and their agent's commission because they're helping them, rent out their home. Just like if you were helping someone sell their home or helping someone buy their home, the seller or the landlord is paying the commission in most cases. Now, with commercial real estate, it's always negotiable. Okay. I'm not a commercial agent, but I have spoke with several commercial agents, and they kind of operate on a different, sphere. I would say their mentality is totally different. So in their world, to me, it's like everything's negotiable, from the lease term, the amount, even down to the individual that wants to rent or lease that space for their agent. Their commission is also negotiable. So it's either I could get my client to pay my commission, or I can reach out to the landlord's agent and negotiate with them on paying me a commission to help rent or lease their space, right? So that's just how that works. And now that's a little bit more footwork on the agent's end, not the person that is leasing, because that's what your agent is there for. It's like you having a lawyer. Your lawyer advocates and negotiates on your behalf. That's why you hired them, right? So yeah.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So are there different, I know we just talked about license, commercial, and what was the other one? Residential. Are there different licenses for real estate agents? Like, is it once you're licensed, you can, like, that's it? Like, what's the growth for you guys? Like, what is the next step? Like, I know some people, like we watch like $1 Million Listing and all of this type of stuff. It's
Selling Sunset,
amazing.
and Selling Tampa, and Ladies That List. Oh yeah, I watch all that.
I do, but they irritate me. But anyway, but is there a different, like, is there a next step for the license? Like, you get a real estate license, but is there like, okay, now I am a luxury real estate, or now I am in this $1 million club, or now I only do Shaw's of Sunset type homes?
Well, I guess to me, so everyone has a goal, right? Mm-hmm. Even in your current job, like, you have a goal, whether you want to stay where you're at or you want to climb the ladder, right? Mm-hmm. My goal, and also what I've talked about with my teammates, is, my goal is to, you can also, get different certifications. Like, I can get a certification in property management, because eventually I'm going to have clients that are going to want to rent their properties, right? And if I get that certification in property management, I could potentially not only help them rent their home, I can also oversee everything that's going on in their home while they're renting it out, from, maybe like payments to them, making sure maintenance is taken care of, things like that. But, the goal is to always, like I said, real estate is constantly evolving, especially with all these reality shows now. It's kind of like, it's more so luxury. I mean, it's cool to look at, but they don't show you like a lot of behind the scenes, like you wanting to pull your hair out, or, really like going back and forth for days, or your
client being they can't be a bridezilla, I guess, a clientzilla.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, you, as a realtor, I like to set the expectation in the beginning, and not necessarily just for me, but for my client. Like, I know you want $1 million home, but you also need to be realistic too, if you can afford it. And you also
make $40,000 a year. So, okay.
It's good to set expectations, but be realistic. But I don't want to, take that dream from somebody. Like, who doesn't want a nice, big, beautiful, luxury home, right? But, in your current state, where do you think you are? And that's why I try to, our team and I tries to partner with different lenders and title companies, and even down to contractors. And we try to be a one-stop shop, because I tell them that, yes, I'm your realtor, and everybody has a different job in the home buying or home selling process. But my job is to still walk you through to each person and through the process, so you're learning stuff along the way.
Going back to like the steps, if somebody wants to sell, and I'll say, let's start with buying a house. So if someone wants to purchase a home, the first step they need to do, in your opinion, is what? Is it sit down and look at your finances?
Look at your finances. Like, just be honest with yourself. Like, look at your finances. And then if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, you could still, depending on if your agent can, or I wouldn't even say, because in the beginning, 9 times out of 10, it's not your agent yet. You're just trying to find, you may be trying to find an agent, or you may want that agent to find you, so you're probably, if you're a millennial, you're on social media trying to find, a realtor, and just seeing, just seeing what they're talking about or posting about. You may inbox them, ask them some questions. But honestly, it's about looking at your financials. How much money are you saving? If you're saving, how much money are you saving? If you're working, how much money are you making? How much are you bringing home? Also, what are you paying monthly? In terms of not just rent, like, do you have a car note? Do you have other obligations that you're paying for? Are you eating out a lot? And you could not be eating out a lot. You could be saving that money, So it's good to look at that and see if is there a possibility that I can afford that? Now, I will say this, I tell people it's good to talk to a lender, but it's also good to talk to multiple lenders. One, you want to talk to a lender because they're going to, help you, figure out what you can afford, basically, what you can shop for. Like, everybody wants to go out and they see a model home. They might want to get out of the car and go look at it, but can you afford it? Me personally, I don't want to, trick myself and be like, oh, this is the type of house I want, but my pockets and my bank account don't reflect that, But what can I do to get that? What do I need to do to get that if that's what I want now? Now, if I don't want it now, realistically, I want it in 5 years, but I still want to be a first-time homeowner and I want a house. Okay, what can I afford? But by talking to multiple lenders, you can find out, not only what you can afford, but also what programs do they have that I can utilize, right? Do they have grant programs? Do they have down payment programs? Do they have closing cost programs? Do they have a program where I can buy down my rate? Because right now, the rates are a little lower, but is there an opportunity for me to buy my rate down even lower if I can afford it, to have a lower monthly mortgage payment? So, and a lot of people think that by talking to multiple lenders and doing multiple pre-approvals, that it hurts your credit, but it doesn't if you do it within a short period of time. Right. And also the pre-approvals only last 30 to 90 days. So if you don't find nothing and you're not under contract within 90 days, you're going to have to do a new pre-approval anyway. So it's good to talk to multiple lenders so you can see exactly what they're offering and what they can help you with.
Got it. So what are some no's? Like, what are some things that if you want to buy, if you're now looking, I'm ready to buy a house, what are some of those no's? Like, some of those, you shouldn't do this, you need to wait. So I'll say, for example, for me, everybody knows it's been on my vision board for the last 3 years. Clearly, y'all know I still haven't gotten it yet, but I have this, I want this big truck. I wanted a Range Rover, which I call my Power Ranger, but I wanted a Range Rover. I want my very own nice white Range Rover. And then I downsized to a Palisade. I don't know if that's really a downsize, but I downsized to a Palisade. And so that's my vision, right? That's my goal. However, goals change because I also had a property on there, and it was, well, you're not buying that if you getting this. You have to buy that truck after you get to that property. You can't, and you shouldn't purchase any big purchases, because then that hurts your buying power.
You're right. So you have to figure, that's why I said people need to be realistic.
So I can't buy my Range Rover right now if I'm going to buy a property.
If you can, go ahead, but what's more important to you? That investment property, to be honest, I know, but to be honest, that investment property can help you purchase that
Range Rover. Absolutely.
That Range Rover, because you're increasing your net worth. You're increasing your net worth by buying that investment property. So to me, that's more that's what I call being realistic. Like,
yeah, I know, it's so sad.
Like, I want a boat, but I can't get a boat right now. Plus, where I live at, we have winter months. Where I want to move to, they don't have winter months. But that's down the line. But I know that's a goal of mine, and a realistic goal 4 to 5 years from now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Or what are some other no's? So, like, if people have, or I don't know if this counts against anything, like student loans.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Well, it depends. I know right now,
They're deferred still.
Don't quote me. They're deferred.
They are. Right? They deferred, girl. Because I know.
But y'all can keep deferring them too.
In all actuality, if you think about it, when COVID started, the housing market, right? Mm-hmm. They deferred student loans. People were given the option to defer, mortgage payments, car payments, things like that. But you have to think about it like this, like on the back end, you're still going to have to pay that back. Yeah. And eventually when those payments start back up, it could be a larger lump sum than what it was when you were before you were deferring it. So now and myself and my team talk about this a lot too, what's going to happen to the housing market when you have people that you have some people that have continued to pay their mortgages on time. You have some people that stop their payments because of COVID, things have happened, like they've either lost their job or their hours got cut or they got COVID, mm-hmm. Those reasons. But then you have some people that just stop mortgage payments just to stop them because they could, because of COVID, and then it puts them in this financial strain where they could potentially have their house foreclosed on because they did this. They wanted the Range Rover. They wanted. I
could have had it. I could have deferred this mortgage payment for it. Damn it.
Things like that. So you should be. It sounds good, but there's always fine print.
Yeah.
And you don't want to put yourself in even more of a financial strain where it like completely messes you up. It flips everything upside down. So, if you're doing it because you have to, because of, life and things have happened, go ahead and do it. But then you have to have a plan on getting back on track, but you have a lot of people that don't.
See, we weren't one of those people, but we deferred our loan. Our mortgage payment, but we put the money aside. So it was sitting in our savings account, and we learned, what was it? I think it was like 3 months or something. Mm-hmm. We learned at the end of those 3 months, we were going to refinance, because at that point in time, the rates went like ridiculously low. Yep. So we refinanced, or we tried to refinance, and they told us we couldn't refinance because we had because our payment had deferred, and it made it look like we weren't
You weren't up to date,
right?
Yeah,
but that's the thing. Like they put this nice little gold bow on it and say, "You can do this, you'll save some money," and then they send you like a packet with that fine print, and nobody really reads it. Like for instance, I know someone that has a rental property out of state, but they were also renting, but they were trying to buy a home in the process. They could not. They attempted to stop their loan from being approved because they had stopped payments on their rental property. They were taking advantage of, them saying that you can not make payments because of COVID. But the con to that was that they almost didn't have a home to live in. They were going to be having to continue to rent until they were making payments. So once they started back making payments, their loan was approved. But people need to, read the fine print.
And that's exactly what it is. It was, like I said, we weren't using the money to go and buy a new car or anything. Like I said, we were to the side. So when we did get to that point, we were like, look, we got the money sitting right here. We can pay you right now. And they still wouldn't let us do it. We still had to wait another.
It's like a period of time you had to wait.
90 days or 90 days before we could refinance. And it wasn't a big deal. We just wanted to make sure, at that point in time, you're kind of like, well, damn, are the rates going to go back up? And what happened? But it was a little stressful because we were like, if we had known this, we wouldn't have done it that way. We would have done it, we would have just gone ahead and refinanced and just been done with it. But COVID said, y'all can do this. And then they were like, yeah, but this is the consequence.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And a lot of people don't realize that until it's too late, and it's unfortunate. That's why we really foresee a lot of people going into foreclosure because of it,
So future, that's what you mean? Like in the future, foreseeing going into foreclosure?
You're going to have a lot more. And see, again, the pro to that is a lot of people that are looking for investment properties. Those are some, it's unfortunate, but it's business for a lot of, it's pleasure for some people, but it's business for a lot of other people, So, if you're having issues paying your mortgage, it's good to speak to a specialist, a legitimate specialist, not someone that came on a TV at 3:00 in the morning saying that we can help you save your home, So,
or all those text messages. We get a lot of people texting us like, "Hey, Rayshawn, we would love to purchase your home and put your whole address in there." I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
Or no, you get the ones on the side of the road when you hit that light, trying to buy, sell, or dial such and such. No, thank you.
But so that's what I'm saying. Those signs that you see on the side of the road, those are basically investors.
Really?
And they're like, you're behind on your mortgage, we can help you. They're going to want to buy your house, and like I said, it's a business for some people, so
the only one I'm taking is that if the drug dealer knock on the door and got a wad of cash and just like here, I want your house, move out. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you can't have it until it's legit now. And the only legit, I don't care where you got it from. That's none of my business. I just want to make sure it's real and it don't have nothing on it that's going to incriminate me. So, but otherwise, pull up, get some 6-figure numbers. I'm like, you can have it. What you want inside? You want the beds?
Let me know what you want. Not even just the bed. You want the kids too? No. I'll let you have it all.
No.
I actually did a transaction where the lady said that she'll leave everything in the house.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of.
My buyer went on a contract. She said, I'm just gonna leave everything. If she wants it, she can. And she was like, "That's fine." I'm like, "The bed too?" Well, she left everything.
Oh, do a lot of people do that though? Like
no.
I wouldn't leave my bed, but I'm like, I don't want to take none of the rest of the stuff with me. It's too much.
I mean, you have some people that might leave drapes, they might leave blinds, real basic stuff. But you actually have people that leave furniture, they leave, they might have had, of course, everything in the kitchen, 9 times out of 10 is going to stay. But I've had people have like 2 or 3 refrigerators in a garage, they leave it, a deep freezer, they leave it. I'm like, okay. leaf blowers, I mean, good stuff. You know?
I mean, when we, well, let me not say we, let me not speak in French here. When my husband's side of the family sold his parents' home in North Carolina, that's pretty much what they did. They pretty much gave the stuff to people.
Yeah. So that's called like as is, like that's a part of like as is. You'll have some people will say, well, I'm selling this house as is. And basically they're saying as is, like everything that's been done is done. We're not doing anything else. But then you have some people that they're like that, including everything that's in it. So everything conveys with the house, like everything. Wow. So even like estate sales and stuff, they may have, the person that lived there since 1972 and everything from 1972 is still in the house. So
including the ghosts
from Christmas past. Yes.
So I had another, I guess, question / I guess statement. So one thing that I learned just with purchasing investment properties was, I guess my question is, does location matter? But also like people should make sure they look into the area or that particular, area that they're looking into, that if it's a neighborhood, that's what I'm going to say. Because there are some places that have HOAs, there are some places that don't have HOAs. And those HOA fees, so previous to where we reside now, our previous home had a HOA, our subdivision had an HOA. Mm-hmm. Then our community had a whole nother HOA. And of course, we didn't know until because it's once a year for the community and then monthly for the subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know that. And that is something, and now with with an investment property that we do have, it's a condo. And so we have a condo fee. But there was like an argument with the condo association and some of the tenants and the owners, because there's like an additional assessment that they're trying to add on. And the first thing they said was, your real estate agent should have told you this. But a lot of the realtors are like, well, we didn't know, or we don't know because your documents aren't correct.
Oh, wow.
That too. So that could that can be fought by the residents. But I will say that's company. Right. Mm-hmm. That's something that as a realtor, I know me personally, and the way I was taught was basically when it comes to homes that have even investment properties, homes that have HOAs or condo fees, you get those documents, right? And that's actually something that can be used if you're under contract to get you out of contract. Me as a realtor, I'm going to go through that document and say, okay, everything looks decent to me, but these are some things that stick out that you should pay attention to. If you're not comfortable with this, you can pull out of the contract. And a lot of people don't know that, but then you have some people that just don't read, And me personally, I know the house isn't my home, but I'm your agent and you're my client. And I don't care if you do want to buy $1 million home or not, or a home you can't afford. I'm still going to look through every piece of documentation and point stuff out to you and bring it to your attention, especially if I'm not sure if you paid attention to, or if you did and you kind of didn't catch it, but just to bring it to your attention. Hey, this is coming up. This is what this is showing. Do you feel comfortable with moving forward? Okay. But like I said, your realtor is like your lawyer. They're advocating and negotiating on your behalf. And they're going through a lot of, I'm not just going to let you go through that documentation on your own. Of course, you have the lenders that'll go through documentation with you, but your realtor should also be going through documentation with you as well, especially right before you get to the table, because you don't want to get to closing and you're like, these numbers don't look right.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not that person. I'm looking through. I'm
but
looking
a lot
through
of people,
all final
a lot of
documentation.
people don't. A lot of people don't. They're just so excited,
I don't know. I've been in with my calculator, making sure I'm like, just because your Excel spreadsheet said it was. I hear you, but give me a moment. I'm like, nope, I ain't playing. I don't play with my money. And I mean, for us, I would say a lot of things when you're getting into having investments and things like that, it's some learning curves. And I mean, for us, like we went back into the documents and we're like, we don't even see this, so we don't know what they're talking about. But I mean, long story short, they took out a loan, and now they're saying the tenants have to pay it. So like, it's not nowhere written. So we don't know where y'all getting it from, but
we ain't paying it.
You're not going to tack it on to me, because where is it at?
Exactly. So you might notice too, I don't know if when y'all were going through the process of looking at investment properties, if you saw some condo fees or HOA fees were like ridiculously high, and that's because in the past they had so many people behind that, you have other homeowners that have to pay for it,
Yep. I mean, and it is a big difference. I mean, for the home that I actually live in, my HOA fee is under $50 a month. But then for a rental property, it's like $400 just for the condo fee. So it's like, what the? I mean, I would definitely never do that again. I'd rather try to figure out a size home that I have if this is what it's going to be. But I mean, condos are easier to manage as far as like, you don't have to do no upkeep and things like that. And it's not so much work that needed to be done. But, it's just, it was a lot more than I think we anticipated. But we have an amazing renter there.
But you're learning a lot too, right?
Oh, yes.
Right.
I mean, the first 2 months I was like, call me again. Call me again. And man,
see,
I'm like, nothing else should be broken.
You could hire a property management company to do all that legwork for you.
Nah,
you know
I'm the property management. I want all my coins. I am the property management company. No, it's all me. I mean,
you're good with paperwork and stuff and numbers.
Yeah, I guess. I guess. I mean, I did, the first 2 months, it was, oh, the toilet is stopped up, or this is broke, or that is broke. I'm like, what you doing? Because all this stuff is new. What you doing?
Like it wasn't stopped up it wasn't stopped up before.
It wasn't stopped up when I kept flushing it to show you it worked. When you moved in, now what you doing, man? Don't put this tissue in. You need to change the tissue now.
Go to one ply, not two.
Do you charge them a fee for maintenance? Like every time someone has to go out there for maintenance or something like that, like a deductible?
We haven't. I mean, we have a contractor on call that's been pretty cool, pretty good. I mean, he went, I think we did have to replace something. I think the sink or something, which is one thing that we didn't replace. I mean, we went in and kind of gutted it and kind of redid everything in there. So it wasn't, but certain things we were like, oh no, like we looked at the bathroom, was like, she getting this bathroom as it is. Like we not like, no, I'm not putting no money into this. So that's what made, I think once she called us, we're like, God damn, now I gotta buy a new toilet. Find the cheapest toilet you can find. Give me a $44 toilet. Long as it fits. Long as it fits and she can sit on it. Because it's an older woman. So that also was like, I think with investing, it's like knowing what you want and who you want in your property, because you have that right. I was picky. I ain't want no little youngin' with a whole rack of kids. And I know that sounds bad for everybody that's listening. I got kids, but oh well, I'm entitled. I wanted that.
You're the landlord. You're the landlord. You're entitled to that.
Give me the older lady on a fixed income. Income ain't changing. She know this is what she can afford. Mm-hmm. This is it. And she good and she not moving.
But also back to being realistic, things happen. What happens if they shut down things again, yep. Which they're not going to do. Right. But you had to be realistic too as an investor. If you're renting out properties, like, okay, worst case scenario, will I be able to afford this moving forward for however many months? And how long can I afford it? You might say we can go a year without having anybody if they chose to shut things down, or if the person couldn't pay their rent or something like that. Could we go a year? Could we go 2 years? So those are just some things to think about. But I think sometimes you have some people that are so scared to jump in. I normally tell people, like, scared money don't make money.
Yep.
On the investor side, and it's all a learning experience. Mm-hmm. You might jump into it and think it was the best thing for you, and then you find out a couple years down the line that maybe this wasn't the best thing. But over time, you learn that, okay, maybe we should do this. Okay, let's go ahead, figure out if we're going to keep it or sell it and do something else. Mm-hmm. And put us in a better, situation. So my hat goes off to you for doing it and taking that.
I mean, for us, like we looked at what we could afford and went way lower than what we could afford, because we could afford this much. But like, to your point, if we gotta hold this down for a year, what does life look like? Because
exactly,
my truck is on my vision board.
Oh my gosh, if you don't get that truck off that vision board and stop it.
And
it's coming. and Gina gonna be right alongside you when you get it.
It's her. Right. Yep. See, it's her fault, because she upped the ante when she knew I was looking for a truck, and she gonna pull up in her truck.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am. She wants a brand new vehicle.
I mean, it can have like a couple miles on it, but not too many. I already got a car with miles on it. I don't need another one.
I didn't need a brand new vehicle. I just needed a vehicle that would fit my kids who like to do activities.
Oh, I didn't say I didn't say I was including the kids.
Hers is for luxury purposes.
Mine is for me. I think as you grow and you get older, you like to invest in yourself. This is investing in myself. This is what this is called. And I know it's a depreciating value for all these accountants out here, but that's fine. When it depreciates, just upgrade again and do something bigger.
And write it off on your taxes.
You know, I'll just do that. All right. Well, thank you, Lexi, or in my Rhonda voice, thank you, Lexi Poo.
You're
Lexi
welcome,
Poo.
and thank you
and
for
Regina.
having me.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was
Regina.
what? I forgot. My bad. She changed my name.
She did change her whole name. But thank you. We are continuing this conversation, and we'll have a two-part with two real estate agents. So we're very blessed to know multiples. So thank you again for all our listeners. Make sure you download the podcast on all podcast platforms. We're pretty much everywhere. Yay, us. Definitely follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Realities. Yes. And it is RAIALITIES. But thank you so much for joining us. It's so appreciative. And in my typical Bree voice, bye.